I just have like a calling on my heart today to just step back and go back to the basics of being able to bring food into your house. So what does it mean to have ingredients in your house that you can make meals for your family? And it doesn't have to be stressful and it doesn't have to be hard. And so I just want to kind of talk through some of the things that we've went through over the years, and then I'm not sure if it'll be a second part to this video or how this video will end up, if it will just be my story for one video and then this other lesson for another one. So we will see what happens today. But all I know is all night last night we had something else planned, and this is a video that we're supposed to make today. So if you don't know me, my name is 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐶. I had started answering questions during the pandemic on Jordan Page's shelf cooking group. And there were so many scared moms on that page during that time that were saying that they were scared to go to the grocery store. And it was the middle of the pandemic, and when they did go to the grocery store, the shelves were empty, or they were scared to take their kids to the grocery store. And you could just feel the fear that these moms in this group had. And one of the things that just kept coming up over and over again was, I stopped buying produce because I'm only going to the grocery store once every 2 weeks. It's going bad. Like, I don't have fruit for my kids, those kind of things. And I didn't understand, because the way that I've always done things, I'm a farm girl, and I just have always washed produce and stuff when I brought it home. I didn't understand that other people didn't do that. So I had replied back to that message in June 2021 when somebody said that they couldn't get blueberries to last more than 4 days. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, the blueberries in my fridge are a month old right now. Like, berries will last for weeks. What do you mean that you can't get produce to last for more than a couple days? So I have like hundreds of videos on how to teach you how to keep produce clean. I have a best-selling book on produce. I've done a TED Talk because of strawberries in a jar, all of these things. But we don't really talk about all the other things that you can buy in your house to make sure that you have those things that you need. And so I kind of want to talk about building your pantry so you have ingredients that you need, that you can make meals at any time, and how easy that is to do. I don't bake bread and I don't cook every day, but we have homemade meals every single day. And it is extremely affordable when you learn how to do these skills. I grew up on a farm, a large farm. And so I grew up knowing like where cows came from and that they ended up in our freezer. And I grew up, with my grandpa's gardens, both my grandpas on both sides, and their gardens, and, my grandma's canning and preserving food, and just realizing that produce is seasonal and we would buy it. It comes in, not necessarily buy it. I buy a lot of mine now, but the produce that was seasonal, we enjoyed it seasonally, or we canned it and preserved it till the next harvest season. And I grew up thinking about harvest season to harvest season. A lot of people don't even realize that the apples that you buy at the store all year long were picked in the fall. So a lot of times when you're buying an apple in July, it is 10 months old at that time. So just those things that I knew growing up are just ingrained in me. So that being said, we moved into town when we got married, and we have a little garden in the backyard, and we have some backyard chickens. Most of the things that I grow in the garden, honestly, are for the chickens, because I don't like buying things at the store to give to the chickens. But I love having fresh produce that I can grow here at the house. And I've always done that. I love teaching littles, even if they're neighbor little kids, littles, where food comes from and how to grow it. And that's just something that has always been important to me, like to learn the lessons that can be passed down. When I was growing up, I grew up in an area called Cooper's Corner, and Mrs. Cooper was such an important person in my life. And I got to be one of her caregivers for her last 15 years of her life, on top of just being a hero that I looked up to. And she ended up being 102 when she passed away. And I still have the little timer that's on my windowsill that I use in all my videos is 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐶 Cooper's. And it's just such an honor to know that I took the time to listen to an older lady when I was young and gain that wisdom from her. And the lessons that she's taught me over the years, I still use, I still teach you guys. And, you know, things have improved, you know, and I've learned more skills since then, but learning things from my grandma Branch and 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐶 Cooper about preserving food and being able to stretch budgets and feed an army for what it seems like is, you know, nothing. You know, my grandma had 8 kids and she was able to always make sure that they were fed. And that was a big deal for a single family income at the time. Mike and I have been married for 27 years. We've raised our kids and they're grown and flown. We've been foster parents and we've had multiple littles in our house over the years. We've had my dad living with us for 10 years of our marriage. And we also had grandma living here recently. Grandma just passed away in February. Now Mike and I are learning what it's like to just be empty nesters really for the first time ever in our lives. I'm saying all this to say that we've went through lots of different ups and downs. We've went through major medical struggles over the years. We've had major financial crises over the years, and we've had some really great times financially too. I know what it's like to cook for the 2 of us. I know what it's like to cook for families that have allergies. I'm diabetic. My dad was diabetic. My grandma's diabetic. My own kids had allergies. The foster kids, when they moved in, that's the reason why we have strawberries in the jar, is because they didn't know the names of the produce items. I was able to open up my fridge and let them point to what they wanted to try. When you're dealing with 4 under 7 and trying to get them snacks, for them to be able to just look in the fridge and point to what they wanted, like, helped everything. I didn't know those techniques at the time that I had from 𝐅𝐎𝐍𝐶 Cooper to wash the items that I've always washed. And then I started putting them in glass so the littles could see it. Would end up changing our lives. Would end up giving me a voice that I have been able to talk to millions of people. But I know how it is to go to the grocery store and worry if your debit card's going to work. Worry if you have enough cash if it doesn't in your wallet. Worrying about if you have enough food in the house to make it till payday. Or having to go grocery shopping on Christmas Eve because your payday's that next morning and you want to make sure that you have what you can have for Christmas morning, but having to stress out about it that whole week before if you could get what you needed for the holiday. We've also went through some really good times over the years where we've been able to buy whatever we wanted at the grocery store and not think about it. And then at the same time wondering why we are working so hard and feeling as broke as we are. And cutting everything that we could possibly cut out of our lives, from cable and gym memberships and anything that you could possibly think of that we were cutting. And still not being able to make it as a middle-class family with college educations. We realized a long time ago that it was our stops at the grocery store and the running to go get things, or the I'm too tired to make dinner, go get takeout, that was destroying our family budget. We were spending more on food than we were for our mortgage on our house, and just didn't think twice about it. Coffee every day was a stop. Being able to stop and get a snack on the way home, or have a car full of littles that all wanted Happy Meals that make them happy. We learned how to slow down going to the grocery store, because someday we do want to move to a farm again. We want to move to a farm. We want to move out where it takes a long time to get to the grocery store. But you know what's even harder is when you can walk to Costco, Walmart, Target, Safeway, Fred Meyer's from your house and not run over to the grocery store all of the time. It's harder to stay out of the grocery store when you can practically see them from your house. Over the years, we went from Mike, will you stop at the store and get this on your way home? And I'm going to take the kids and go through this drive-through on the way home and do this, and running and being busy, to can we make it 3 days with money in the bank, not going to the grocery store? Can we make it 5 days without going to the grocery store? Can we make it the whole week? And I knew I could do it occasionally when we needed to, trying to push out for a payday. But when money was rolling in and we were spending that much, it was ridiculous. We couldn't afford to go on vacation because we were wasting so much at the grocery store. Now people are needing to have so many extra jobs just to pay for the basics. At one point, we were dealing with so many medical bills. Mike and I were working 5 jobs between the two of us just to cover the 4 walls, just to make sure our utilities stayed on, the mortgage was paid, and that we had the medical bill, co-pays, and groceries. We've done it all. Like, we've done it all. I owned a housekeeping company for 16 years and cleaned other people's houses to make sure that our family was okay. But I promise you, if you follow along and you listen to some of the things that I teach you, we can drastically help your grocery budget. The average family in the United States is throwing away over 40% of the food that they buy. And that seems crazy. It seems crazy, but then you really think about all of the produce that you throw away, and all of those leftovers that you overcooked and nobody ever eats. Or when you finally get around to cleaning out the freezer, you've waited way too long and you're throwing away garbage bags full of things from the freezer. Or things in your pantry go stale. I want to teach you how to have food security in your house and for it to cost way less money for you, and that you don't have to cook as often. So now I'm to the end of this video and have decided that that lesson that I'm going to do is going to be a whole separate video. So make sure that you like and follow and comment and tell us what your struggles are and tell us how we can help, and follow for part 2.